everyone. This is Elliott Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you once again for joining us here on the Comic Culture Warrior YouTube channel, where we talk about all things comics and comic-related and other things beyond that. We promised last week, even though we were going to back off on the reviews, that this was going to be a big week. And trust me, we've got some reviews and some interesting rants to go with those reviews. So why don't we just jump right into that? Because the first rant/review that we want to talk actually relates to something that we brought up in last week's segment. Essentially, the issue of Spider-Man and people not knowing his secret identity since the One More Day. We kept calling it Brand New Day, but it's
Brand New Day is just as bad.
Just as bad.
But that was like One More Day was like the 4-issue story arc with Mephisto, and then it turned into Brand New Day.
Right, where Mephisto somehow has the power to make everybody forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, even though, and here's the thing that kind of gets me before we get into this, didn't Peter Parker unmask on television? In Civil War, so shouldn't there be like hundreds of thousands of videotapes out there showing Peter Parker unmasking?
I totally agree. Yeah. But I think that was one of the arguments that people had. Like, well, yeah, it's on videotape, but I think that has a lot to do with what happens in here, where there's a statue of him unmasked, but it's kind of blurred a little bit. So I think it's fucking bullshit, I know. But I'm assuming that those videotapes are kind of wonky around the face kind of thing. Like, where you can't really tell who
it's
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, because, I mean, Joe Quesada insists things weren't undone. It's just that people forget, so, yeah.
But now, in here, which is something we'll get to, now I think that whole Mephisto thing is gone because they mentioned something else in here, which it could be, how Peter Parker knows that people forgot, and somebody helped him, and he knows who helped him. So, are they already retconning the fucking Mephisto thing because it was so fucking stupid?
Let's get into what happened here in Spider-Man number 590, where you have Spider-Man teaming up with the Fantastic Four in one of those stories where it flashes back to the time before everyone forgot that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, and into the present time where Parker is interacting with the Fantastic Four. Dan Slott, if you ask me, kind of, you know what? If anything, Dan Slott has been left holding the shit bag every time when it comes to dealing with these things.
Yep.
Right before Brand New Day, or One More Day. Dan Slott came up with a rather interesting way of dealing with the Peter Parker. Everyone knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man dilemma in
Avengers
Initiative.
Yeah, which I thought was a really
clever idea. But instead of going with that, they do the whole One More Day thing. Fine. Now, 1 week after Peter Parker unmasks to the new Avengers, which to both of us we didn't buy, and someone on the boards was actually trying to defend, saying that, well, Peter Parker needs someone to talk to and needs someone to console in because, you know, all the things that he's gone through. The Avengers are that family. Don't buy it.
Don't buy it, because this is the family and who his friends, who he would turn to to talk to.
Exactly.
All right, so yeah, Elliott already set up the story. The beginning of the book, they go to a parallel dimension, and now flash forward to today. They're getting a distress signal from that parallel dimension, and Reed Richards calls Spider-Man in because he's like, hey, they're asking for all of us to go since we all went together. You should come with us. So they meet up, and right away, Johnny Storm is like, you know, I was trying to think of a way to get a hold of you, but I couldn't think of of a way to do it. You know, why don't I have your phone number?
Right.
We've been through this before. We're friends. Why don't I have a personal way to contact you?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then Spider-Man starts to hem and haw a little bit about it, and then that's when he mentions to himself, I think, in the interior monologue or something like that, that nobody knows who he is, and somebody helped him to make everybody forget. I don't know if that's the Mephisto thing, because I thought Peter Parker wasn't supposed to remember that, too. Mm-hmm. So I think there's something else going on, which, if Spider-Man knows about it, all right. And this, Bendis blew the Spider-Man wad last week, unmasking. Here's the number one problem I have. Well, I had many problems with that. But here, now, a week later, the same story comes up in Amazing Spider-Man. And that story should be told in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
Okay. So they get to this parallel universe, and the people have erected statues in their honor because they helped them out. And Peter Parker's statue does not have a mask on, but
because in the previous adventure, Peter Parker flew in to save these folks in this alternate dimension without a mask on, which interesting enough. But I can see in the story why that would work.
But his face is more eroded on the statue than everybody else's.
Right.
And then Johnny Storm is like, all right, wait a second. Why do you not have your mask on here? It's
right.
Like, I know and Johnny Storm's getting really agitated because I know who you are. I know you without your mask, but why can't I remember it exactly? So Johnny Storm and him start getting into a bit of an argument, okay? And let me find the exact page. All right, and here it is. This is the number one problem that I have with Bendis fucking up shit in New Avengers. He doesn't have a problem showing it to 10 strangers in the New Avengers.
Right, who he doesn't really share histories with.
Right.
Right.
At all. And Johnny Storm is pressuring Spider-Man now. He's like, why don't I know you? Why? You need to unmask. And Spider-Man is like, he's like, no, I'm not going down that road again. No one knows. That's how it has to be. No exceptions.
No exceptions.
No exceptions. No one should know Peter Parker. And he's like, and if that means we're not friends, fine. Okay, so Spider-Man's not going to unmask for one of his best friends, Johnny Storm. He is contemplating ending the friendship with the Fantastic Four and Johnny Storm over him not taking off his mask. Mm-hmm. So fucking bullshit that he unmasks himself. Doesn't have a problem doing it in the New Avengers. I'm sorry, but
right.
And you know who's? I mean, the big problem is Editorial. These books came out a week apart, and Bendis had to have his way, I'm sure, and needed to have the big thing in his book, fucking over Dan Slott again. And I'm sorry, this sounds like Peter Parker in this book.
Right.
He doesn't want to show anybody.
Because there were a lot of sacrifices made so that people could forget his secret identity. I mean, it's pretty huge, the sacrifice that was made. And so much was made of in One More Day, that very thing, that Peter Parker is giving up one of the most precious things he could ever have. His happiness, the true love that only comes along once in a generation. He sacrificed that so that he could start over again and have that brand new day. And now, all these things are unraveling because, again, we want to have Peter Parker unmasked for one reason or another.
But it's only been a year.
Right.
Why put the genie back in the bottle only to bring it back out again only a year later?
Right. And, again, and I agree with you, it is an editorial thing. I know what the folks at Marvel are saying. They're saying that, right now the continuity nerds are getting all up in arms, and how could they, why are they getting so upset, and so on. And I know Dan Slott and Brian Bendis, all due respect, that's the rationalization that they have too. And this smells of coordination not taking place between New Avengers, where Spider-Man plays a significant role, and the Spider-Man books, where they're not talking to each other and saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Or if they were saying, you know what, now's the time to unmask Spider-Man, at least with the Fantastic Four and with the Avengers. Make sure you're coordinating how the motivations are working.
And because they're having the same discussion about him unmasking, but Peter Parker's acting in completely different ways in each book. His
motivations are dramatically different between the two. And for me, they're reversed. He should have been fighting it with the Avengers the whole time, and with the Fantastic Four saying, you know what, I don't want to do this, but here I am.